Pubco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching the Press Row. Press Row is sponsored by Cox High-Speed Internet. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell, and it's time for our weekly 5 in 5 segment where we take 5 topics, a minute each, run through them, give our opinions. Barry, let's start with probably the question of the week after Oklahoma's loss. OU, is it time to panic?
Well, panic's never a good thing, I don't think. However, the answer is yes. How could panic hurt? I mean, this is a team that clearly is not playing up to its capability. It wasn't just Tech. Yeah. I mean, they messed around with Kansas. Messed around with Missouri. And this is a team that's proven that it's capable, the way it played against Florida State, right, the way it played against Texas. So if panic would help, I'm all for it.
Well, clearly this is a team that's got a lot of talent. You don't win the games that they won leading up to the loss at Tech and not be without some talent. But clearly there's something wrong in the internal mechanism. We learned this week they had a players-only meeting. Maybe that's going to help. But, you know, there's been a lot of talk after so-so performances and now after this loss that they didn't practice well, Barry. That, to me, is a big red flag. I mean, why would you not be practicing well when you're pointing towards a national championship and you've talked about it from the get-go? I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't either. And, of course, I don't think anybody does. I don't think coaches know why players don't practice well. So, and, you know, we want to put it on the coaches or the players. It's everybody involved. I mean, everybody's responsible. So I don't know. I don't know what you can do at this point in the season other than do better talks, personnel changes. They play a bunch of guys. It's not like you can, you're not going to bench Landry Jones for crying out loud. Try a new field goal kicker, never hurts, but that's tried before. So
they only have 6 of those on scholarship.
At some point, of course, if you make field goals Saturday night, we might be talking about the greatest comeback in OU history. Now everything's hunky-dory.
All right, back to our next topic, number 2, OSU. Worthy of its number 3 ranking. What do you say, Barry?
Well, I think yes, for crying out loud. We talked about it. They've gone to Lubbock. They've gone to Austin. They've gone to College Station. They've gone to Columbia. Yep. Won all those games. We've compared them to Stanford. Stanford's not played anywhere in the schedule that Oklahoma State has. Clemson's had a pretty good schedule, but I don't think the equal of OSU. I think they're completely deserving of number 3.
Well, and I do too. And obviously some of these teams, Texas maybe isn't as good as some people thought at the beginning of the year. Missouri maybe not as good as we thought they could be after they won that thriller against Arizona State early in the year. But these are still good teams, and I think we see that reflected in the computer polls, Barry. OSU number 1 in all but one of those computer polls, and to me that takes out some of this talk that people want to, oh, Stanford's done this, oh, Clemson's done that. The computers, they have a formula they go through, and they have OSU ranked so high.
And the fact that all the different computers love OSU, and they're all different. I mean, sometimes you see Boise State 2 and sometimes Boise State 9.
Right.
I mean, they're all over the place. Not with Oklahoma State.
All right, back to our number 3 topic, Bill Snyder. Barry, this is one of your favorite topics. Best college football coach ever?
Well, I actually was not alive back when John Heisman and Pop Warner coached, but from everything I've read about the old days and everything I've seen in the last 50 years, the answer is clearly yes. I mean, this is a guy that succeeds wildly at a place where people said, you can't, it's a job killer, it's a dead end. Barry Switzer used to tell his assistants, don't even interview because you might be tempted to take the job. Stay away from Manhattan. And he has boldly won where people didn't even want to go. I think he's the greatest college coach ever.
Well, you can definitely be amazed by what he's done. I mean, not only did he bring Kansas State out of the doldrums of the 70s and 80s with his first time as K-State head coach, he retires, lets Ron Prince try to run K-State into the ground again, and comes back and does it again, Barry. To me, that really solidifies his place as one of the greatest. And I'm like you. I don't know. I mean, you're talking about some old-timer coaches when you're trying to split hairs here. But in today's age, when you've got scholarship limits and everybody with facilities and he has to be the best.
I love talking to him. I talked to him this week. We chatted Wednesday night. And just listening to him, you realize how it happens. It's not miracles. It's not magic. He believes in getting up and going to work every day, doing things right.
All right. Topic number 4, West Virginia. Is this a good fit for the Big 12?
Well, good, no. Best, yes.
Right.
It's not a good fit, for crying out loud. They're in Appalachia. They're across half the country. They're the other side of Ohio. And it's one thing. They're not even in West Virginia. They're in Northeast West Virginia. They're like 200 miles from Baltimore. But who else are you going to get? I mean, for crying out loud, it's like the pickings are slim. The quality is not there. The teams that you want to get, Arkansas, LSU, Iowa, Nebraska, the people that great fits, they're not coming.
No.
You take what you can get. West Virginia is an excellent name brand football. I don't think it's a good fit. It's the best fit.
Right, and had a chance to talk with Boone Pickens on Wednesday, and he said Morgantown, that's pretty isolated. Here's a guy that's talking from a perspective of Stillwater, which I think a lot of people would think, boy, isn't that isolated? Well, Morgantown, it's a ways away from a major city. I got an email from somebody who said, you don't have to fly into Pittsburgh to get to Morgantown, but where you do have to fly into, I frankly can't even remember, and I assume you're flying with, a couple prop engines, which I know you'd be really a fan of, Barry. But I tell you what, it is definitely on the fringe of what you could see as a Big 12 team, but that's the way this is going, Barry. Geography, it doesn't matter anymore. Just get a good fit. In West Virginia, it's going to be good football matchups, that's for sure.
Well, a little bit of good news on the geography front. West Virginia doesn't play softball. So Patty Gasso, Rich Wiggleman, you guys don't have to make the trip.
All right, our last topic in 5 and 5. The NBA. Who's to blame for lost games?
I'm going to blame David Stern.
All right.
I mean, why not? He gets all the credit for how great the league was in its heyday. Why not blame him for this? I think the owners have bargained in bad faith. I think the owners have played too much hardball. I think the owners want overcorrection for the problems that are in the economics of this sport. Yes, it needs to come back some, but you can't get it all at once. You can't go all the way back to a certain percentage. I think the owners are demanding too much.
Well, and you mentioned David Stern, and he's really become a polarizing figure in all of this. And his time as commissioner of the NBA to this point has been fairly rosy. He's been credited for a lot, even moves that have been controversial. Ultimately, people have said, that was the right decision. David Stern, smart guy, good commissioner. Now, I don't know when David Stern's going to retire. He's no spring chicken, but I would think this is close to the end of his time as commissioner, Barry. It's going to leave a black mark. He's become so heavy-handed in all of this.
Well, but they got a great PR machine. Compare David Stern to Bud Selig. Everybody's punching bag. Baseball has a more profitability on its franchises. Baseball has more parity in its field of play, and baseball is just in better shape than the NBA right now. Yet everybody punches on Bud Selig.
You're right. Hey, thanks for joining us for 5 and 5, and be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.